getting away from the dark and depressing world of DC Comics, getting into the sunny land of Marvel. Which books are you reading from there? Which ones are really catching your eye? Obviously, Fearless Defenders was one of your favourites. Obviously, that's stopped now. Which ones have caught your eye recently?
Well, it's kind of funny that before joining the comic book cast, I was a 100% pure Marvel guy, barely reading any of the Marvel books. But now that I've joined them, I actually co-op a bunch with Armin, and I'm reading more than I ever have before. What did I read this week? Nathan Edmondson's Punisher. I'm, of course, a Punisher junkie from the Garth Ennis years and the Aaron years. It's shaping up to be really good. I think he's found a happy balance between, the dark, brooding, kill everyone Ennis Punisher and, the lighter, more like Punisher War Journals thing. I think it succeeds by giving him the right villains to fight. Also from Edmondson, we were talking about Ladies in Comics. His Black Widow book is only 3 issues in now, and it's really good.
I'm really enjoying that. I mean, I originally I thought it would just be a bit it'd be pandering to like her character from the Avengers, but no, it's not. It's really, really damn good.
It's very personal, and he takes an angle with it that I didn't think he would take. He comes to this realization there that Natasha Romanoff, at the end of the day, is very lonely. Maybe one of the loneliest superheroes ever, because the assassin spy community doesn't quite accept her because she's a superhero, and the superhero community doesn't quite accept her because she's a spy and an assassin.
Obviously, whatever they do with Black Widow, I think will be okay. I mean, I'd like to see her more in. Obviously, I think we're going to get that in Winter Soldier, but honestly, I'd love to see. Getting back to one of my favorite heroes, I would love to see. I mean, they're sort of doing that now in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but bringing Captain Marvel into the main movie fold.
Well, that has to be the next step. I mean, that has to be, phase 3, 4, whatever it is, for new heroes and new blood. I think that has to be the next step for them.
I mean, imagine just, forget box office records, but you could just imagine Marvel getting their main female hero out before DC.
Wonder Woman, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it's either depressing or actually really interesting if you look at it either way.
It's hard to believe, with these all these superhero movies now, that is still, a female-led superhero movie is still, for some whatever weird reason in the year 2014, the big untested water. That's like the next world to conquer or whatever, because no one's really made it work. I mean, yeah, we've had Catwoman and we've had Elektra, but I mean, we all know how those turned out.
Don't remind me. I read the new issue of Superior Spider-Man.
Yes, I've been keeping up with that.
That is coming to a close pretty soon. So, what are your feelings? I mean, obviously, Goblin Nation is in full swing, and
yes, it is.
It's actually pretty damn good.
It is. It's a war in New York on the scales we've never quite seen before.
Exactly. I mean, I remember it kind of like the first thing. Seeing the first issue, like the start of the event, where Spider Arc climbs out onto the building. You see the entire city kind of in flames, and
Yep.
It kind of reminded me of playing Web of Shadows in a way, because
yeah.
I mean, that's a great. It was such an interesting kind of image, and I thought, wow, Dan Slott's kind of burying this character in a way, because they started off so strong, and obviously they try and finish it strong. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do in the final few issues. Obviously, they've got 2099 coming back in the next one, and then you've also got. I mean, apparently, he's meant to be gone in the last issue of Superior Spider-Man. He's meant to be Peter back, but I hope they finish the series off strong. I mean, because it has its strong fan base.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in all honesty, I couldn't give two hoots about Peter Parker.
Well, you know what? It's not your fault for feeling that way. Marvel Comics and their succession of writers are the ones who made us feel that way.
Exactly.
It's the one more days. It's like, we caught a lot of crap, Armin and I, for reviewing Superior Spider-Man at the height of the hatred for that book, at like the height of the fan outrage.
Yeah.
And people are like, this is the worst thing ever to happen to Spider-Man. This is the worst betrayal. And we're like, guys.
Shut up.
This is just your first betrayal
Exactly.
from Spider-Man. You see, guys like us who are older than you, we're used to getting betrayed by Spider-Man. We're used to One More Day. We're used to the Clone Wars.
Civil
for crying
War,
out.
even.
Yeah, That too. I mean, guys, this will always happen with Spider-Man. Unfortunately, every couple years, they're going to come out with something that's going to, make you incredibly furious,
Mm.
and it's all in an attempt to get the status quo back. All this whole Superior Spider-Man experiment is basically to break him up from the rest of the world because Spider-Man was getting too close to everyone. He was an Avenger, everybody liked him.
Mm.
It was doing too good, and Spider-Man can't have people like him, and he can't have it be good because Spider-Man needs to deal with the same teenage problems he's been dealing with since the 60s.
Wait, how old is he exactly? Is he like?
His age is all over the place. He's technically an adult, but not really. Well, here's the thing, too. If I had to theorize, he's probably going to get a new body at
Mm.
the end of this Superior arc, and it's probably going to be a younger body.
I hope they don't, just because I think of the respect that he gained as an adult. I just hope they don't kind of reboot the character and say, no, he's young again. You can have 50 more years of him, and then we'll reboot it again.
Here's the thing. Again, if you've been keeping up with Superior, Peter Parker survived within the mind
Yeah.
of Octavius, but only a couple memories survived. Only like the really big ones, like the death of Gwen Stacy,
Yeah.
the Master Planner arc, all the other stuff. And Peter Parker even says himself, what did he say? He said it so well. Doc Ock tried to destroy me by getting rid of my memories, but all he really did was create, the purest Spider-Man by leaving my strongest memories intact. So I'm like, oh, so this is your justification for a soft retcon that no. All the good stuff still happened to me. But all the bad stuff, like, getting organic web shooters for a bit, the deal with the devil, I don't remember it, so I guess it didn't happen.
Exactly.
To where it's like, well, okay.
And going back to when I was growing up, the first comic that I actually got was, it was I can't exactly remember the issue name, but it was when he originally had. It was basically when he was killed by Craven, like supposedly killed by Craven.
Last Hunt, yeah.
And he met Vermin in the sewers, and that was the first issue I kind of grabbed onto Spider-Man.
That's my favorite Spider-Man story of all time, Last Hunt.
And after that, obviously the movies came out. Obviously, we're all fans of them. Maybe not Spider-Man 3, but
Oh, well.
but we all grew up with the character, and we all begun to like him again. And then, as everyone honestly, like you said, like everyone started to like him again. We can't have that, so we make him an asshole in a way.
Yeah, I mean, it is, I think Spectacular Spider-Man, the cartoon, said it perfectly, saying he is cursed with Parker luck. And Parker luck is essentially that every couple years, you need to fuck up so badly that no one is going to like you for a long time. And then you got to get back the trust, and you got to build yourself up until they knock you down again.
I mean, case in point right there. I mean, not everyone's favorite event, but Secret Invasion, when that happened, the one character who got the most crap out of everyone was Spider-Woman. She's kind of, ultimately, I think she's kind of suffered in a way recently. I mean, she's in Avengers, she's in Avengers Assemble, and she's been in, like, featured, but she's not really her own character anymore. She's kind of like a supporting cast in a way.
But is she going to be on the new Alice Cott Secret Avengers? I think
yeah, she is. Yeah, she is.
Okay,
I saw the first cover for that today.
I have high hopes for that book because I really like Alice Cott. So I hope that's going to be good. And, he does good with female characters, Cott, so I'm hoping, she gets a chance to shine in that. Plus, Coulson's going to be on that book.
Who doesn't like Coulson?
Dude, Coulson is probably one of the greatest success stories of a character, of what is called a continuity immigrant, that he started in the movies, immigrated to the comics, and is now a part of the comic universe.
Obviously, as the movies progressed, he got more interesting. And then,
now he has his own show.
Exactly. I mean, if you've not been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., folks, you need to be. It is a fantastic series. Some episodes, they're hit and miss, but some of the more recent ones have been excellent.
It's really found its footing now. I think it's in the last episode, it became the show it's going to be from now on. And I know a lot of people checked out early on, which you really shouldn't have. You really should have stuck with it. You should have known, like any other Whedon show, it takes a while to get going.
Exactly.
But it's here now, and it's really quite interesting. And yet again, to another thing we guys at the Comic Book Cast kind of took some flack for. because it's like, oh man, how can you defend this show where it's like blah blah blah? We're like, give it a chance. It's going places, it's going, and now it's
Exactly.
here.
I mean,
Well, here's the shitty thing. Apparently, the last episode, the one that everyone was talking about, shit, even Forbes did an article on it. It's actually their lowest rated episode to
what,
date.
Tahiti, the one that just came
Yep,
out?
yep.
What? No way.
I know, I know. When I read that, I'm like, you gotta be joking me.
There's something wrong there because that was a brilliant episode.
I'm hoping the internet hype machine takes over and people finally come back to it. Because if not, this will join the pantheon of other Joss Whedon shows that were canceled
Not
before their time.
Firefly again.
I know we don't need that. And we talked about that on the comic book cast too, saying, if the worst should happen, if Agents of Shield just cannot find an audience. I mean, how important do you think it is to world building? Do you think they would just double down on the Agent Carter show and the Netflix show,
I
or
mean,
do you think they would try and rebrand it?
Hopefully, I mean, obviously with the next episode that's meant to feature like Lady Sif, which is going to get more people interested because hell, who doesn't like Thor? But
Indeed. And again, it keeps coming back to where it's like, well, what did you want from the show? Why wanted Iron Man every episode? It's like, it's Agents of Shield,
Exactly.
agents.
Imagine in a crazy world that the Fox executives get drunk. They get drunk off their asses, and they drive all the way to New York, and they find the Marvel offices. They go to Disney and they say, "Here, take X-Men off our hands," and they go, "Okay." And so, what if? And this is a what if. What if they made an Avengers versus X-Men film? Would you reckon that would be better than the comic?
I don't think it could be worse because I don't think it couldn't be drawn out for as many issues as it was drawn out for. It could be only 2 hours at the most, and I actually think it might be better at 2 hours at the most, even if it did just turn into super-powered battle royale.
I mean, who doesn't want to see that, honestly?
It would be pretty amazing. I mean, come on, freaking Cyclops blasting Cap's shield and everything, Wolverine duking it out with Thor. That'd be good shit.
Thor comes back from like a hiatus after Civil War.
Yep.
And he found out that he had apparently been cloned from some kind of experiment from it. If I can remember, I see remembering that off the top of my head. But
yes, actually, that was because in Loki: Agents of Asgard, Loki brings that up to Thor. Actually, where he's like, "Hey, remember this shit that happened?"
no,
and
Thor's like, fan base doesn't.
Yeah, and Thor's like, "No, actually, that slipped my mind, but you're right. I'm still pissed at Tony about that."
One of my favorite pages is when Thor basically says, "No, you were wrong," and then he basically said, and then Iron Man tries to come back with a comment, and then basically Thor kicks his ass. I mean, he hands it to him royally. I mean, that was when I started to take Thor a bit more seriously. I mean, obviously now with Thor: God of Thunder, which is a really excellent book. Like now, it's got everyone more interested other than just the movie version. It's got people more interested in the comic again.
Yeah, Thor: God of Thunder is so good that when I talk to other writers and ask them what their favorite comic is, they will usually say Thor: God of Thunder as their first one. So that's the book that writers like.
Exactly. I mean, I've literally just finished reading the latest arc where it was like with Malekith. And at the final issue, I kind of felt a bit let down by it, and I can't really put my finger on why. It kind of felt incomplete in a way.
Yeah, it kind of went out with a whimper, then a bang. They were clearly planting seeds for a future arc, but even more so than that, I think this was Jason Aaron saying, I want to show what Thor is like in defeat. I want to see what Thor is like when he loses.
I can kind of see that now, but at first it kind of felt...
Yeah, it was like, oh, really? Is that it? But then again, it's like, had he killed off Malekith, and it's like, oh, I guess we can't have Malekith anymore. I mean, obviously, they want to keep him around as a villain for a little bit and get more stories out of him.
Apparently they're doing him in a crossover with Iron Man for some reason. I mean, he's been...
I haven't read the new Iron Man book.
I haven't either.
Or since the Marvel Now started, I should say.
I mean, like I said, it hurt. Like I'd say Marvel Now, it's not that bad. Like it's a damn good project that they did, and in any kind of terms, I reckon it kind of did better than the New 52. Like it didn't restart continuity. It kind of basically said, okay, so here's a new like a newer version of the character, but you'll get to enjoy yourself from it. And
I think what they realized is people don't care so much about whole universe reboots. They care about new number ones. That being said, Marvel has taken it way too frickin' far that now they're putting number one on everything they can possibly put it on.
case in point, the Trial of Jean Grey, number 1, issue 12.
Yeah, and then you go over to the other one, also number one for the Guardians. But I'm like, they can't both be number one.
I mean, a new number 1 situation like that would obviously be like the new X-Men books in some of them.
We were loving the new X-Men books when it started, but now that we're a couple arcs into it, the shine has really come off the newer X-Men books for us.
I know you've kind of you're not kind of like an Uncanny at the moment.
The last couple Uncannies have been... Well, it's funny, they went from one of the best Uncanny issues ever, which was the lead-in to Magneto's solo book, which did not feature any of the other Uncanny X-Men. It was one of the best issues of the series, followed up with what is easily one of the worst issues of the series, where it's, hey, remember these kids we've been collecting but haven't bothered to, flesh out at all? We're going to have a solo adventure with them.
Oh, God.
With none of the other X-Men that you like. And it comes to the realization where it's like, wow, I kind of hate most of these characters.
Exactly.
Or if I don't hate them, I don't know who they are. And this is 17 issues in. I should know who these people are.
I mean, I love Magic I love Magic from the X-Men. She's one of my favorite characters. But the fact that she's done it, they've kind of done it again with another female character. They've kind of Emma Frost has suffered the same. They've kind of shoved her to the back. They've shoved them to the back just to kind of say, yes, this is Cyclops' book. This is his book, and yes, they're in it, but they're not in it that much.
The worst thing about Magic is they've essentially turned Magic into a prop, and it's one of the worst writing crutches I've seen, where whenever the X-Men are in trouble, it used to just be whenever the Uncanny team was in trouble, but Magic showed up and did it in other books too. Whenever the X-Men are in trouble, Magic will just poof them away from danger, and it'll be like nothing happened.
Magic, a.k.a. Deus Ex Machina.
Magic Ex Machina, more like it. To where I'm just like, well, now I never feel any danger for the book, and now I never feel that there's any drama because I know when they're in trouble, Magic will just whisk them away. And if Magic doesn't whisk them away, I'm going to say, why the hell didn't Magic whisk them away when she's done it a million times before?
I mean, one of the things that... I mean, sounds a bit cruel, but if they actually killed her off, I think it would let the book grow more, or just take her away from that team, and let her have her own series. Like she could easily make a cool series, but
should have her go train with Doctor Strange and whatnot.
Oh yeah! Oh wow, that'd be awesome.
Hey, there's my pitch, Marvel. If you're listening, go do that.
I mean, I remember. Mostly Magic's pretty interesting, but I haven't actually seen eye or ear of Colossus ever since after like Avengers vs. X-Men. Obviously, he was kind of pissed off with what she kind of did to him, but
yeah.
I mean, after that, I know we got the future version of him in Battle of the Atom, and that was a really sweet moment when they saw each other again. But at the moment, I just think that they're driving her character into the ground. Like they're kind of saying, like you said, it's basically saying, "Oh yeah, Magic's here. Whoop-de-doo, she saved the day. Yay!"
She's a prop, is what she is. She is essentially a prop. And again, too, you mentioned the Cyclops thing. Like, oh, this is Cyclops' book. It's all about him. Is it really? I can't actually think of anything he's done in the last little while.
Actually, that's a good point. Like in some of in All New X-Men, I like that book because it kind of got me interested in the X-Men again. I mean,
same.
I'll not deny, I kind of found the X-Men really boring, and
they had a rough go of it.
I mean, the films. I've got my own opinion on the films, and oh my god, I'm being dragged to go and see Days of Future Past, but.
Oh, I'll happily see Days of Future Past. I mean, for those who listen to our show, I have a gentleman's bet going with my co-host where it's like, if the movie is, good, then Armin has to apologize for all the crap he's talked about Bryan Singer. But if it's bad, I have to grow a hipster mustache and put on a scarf for his amusement. That's what we do on our show, everybody. I think it's going to be fun. I don't think it's going to be as good as 2. I don't think it's going to be as good as First Class. But I think it's going to be better than the other ones.
I mean, I mean, I mean, obviously over here, McAvoy and Fassbender, massive acting icons. They're very popular. And what happened in obviously First Class, my favorite X-Men movie at the moment, is the fact that they actually made me care about the X-Men again. I think that was that was their big goal with Marvel: make us care about the X-Men again. Don't care how you do it, just do it.
It's because it was the first X-Men movie that was actually about the X-Men and not about Wolverine.
Exactly. Oh no, apart from that 5-second cameo he had in it.
That too. Well, again, it's not perfect. You can't not have Wolverine in it.
Exactly.
I mean, heck, I love the first two X-Men movies, but let's not joke and let's not beat around the bush there. They are Wolverine stories through and through. It's Wolverine and the X-Men is what it is. And then you get the two solo X-Men movies, one that's crap and one that's actually pretty good.
I have my own opinion on the Wolverine that's kind of...
Oh, you weren't crazy about the Wolverine?
What I found about it was the fact that, although I liked the idea that they went with the take away his healing ability, make him vulnerable, make him that, and then the fact that they introduced Viper, who's not really an X-Men villain, and then they sort of clumsily introduced Silver Samurai in the last 20 minutes. That kind of
it gets really stupid at the end. I won't lie.
Yeah, but again, my friend kind of said, "Okay, you sit in the seat," and I said, "Why?" He said, "Because there's a scene afterwards," and I went, "Oh, for God's sake!" So I sat and waited, and obviously, no, it's a Marvel film; you're meant to wait. But I was actually really surprised with what they came out with, which was Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart coming out to obviously saying, "We're in the next film, everybody, come and see it."
Yeah, come see it. Well, you said it's a Marvel film. Technically, it's a Fox film, actually. So the Fox films have now learned from the Marvel films and said people love post-credit stinger, so we should have one too.
I mean, I remember the backlash that Iron Man 3 got just because they introduced a funny scene at the end.
Yeah, because they had a joke. Yeah, I don't know what this war people have against humor. Like, how dare they try and make me laugh?
I mean, Thor 2 is my favorite Marvel film to date just because of how much it made me enjoy myself, because it balanced action with actually quite a lot of good humor in it as well.
Oh, yeah. Some would argue too much humor, but again, too, it does a really excellent job building on the mythology from the first Thor. And hey, it takes place in England for the whole thing. They don't go to America once. What other superhero movie can you say did that?
I mean, at least they didn't destroy London like they did in, well, I don't know, about Star Trek and G.I. Joe. Maybe they didn't just say, "Sorry, Britain, no one likes you anymore."
And a certain other movie with a hero in a red cape.
Oh yeah, that one.
We know that one.
You know, I'm still feeling the effects of saying that I put it on my top 10 list of last year, and I put it as number 10 though. But I'm still getting a few emails like saying, "How could you like this movie?"
I know. Well, and you know what? I think that's almost a mark against it too, where freaking, Man of Steel has become this great nerd civil war where it's like, wow, Superman, the symbol of hope, who was supposed to bring us all together, all he did was divide us down the middle into warring tribes.
And a million of ashes of people and destruction.
Yeah, kiss in the ashes of a man. Thanks, Superman.
Thanks, Superman. I want to be you when I grow up. We got way off topic, but
indeed we did.
I've kind of got two more questions, but that's kind of about it.
Shoot.
Obviously, Harley Quinn's got her main series with Jimmy Palmiotti at the moment, which is pretty funny. It's pretty good, and I really like reading it.
Great little comedy series, exactly what the DC universe needs right now. Something that doesn't take itself completely seriously,
and it doesn't screw with the character as much as they kind of did with Death in the Family. I mean, obviously, I know you didn't like the fact with the multiple Harleys. I did not like that.
Yeah. Which they have never gone back to, I will add. They have never gone back to that. They have never even so much as mentioned that again. So I think someone realized they screwed up.
I mean, it's not even the fact that they've mentioned it. It's the artwork. It's the artwork that showed it. And I was like saying, you what? Like you?
Yeah, that issue was ugly and mean and not in a good way.
I mean, that was one of the one issues that I actually physically hated DC Comics for.
Yeah, that was just where it's like I'm almost like, round of applause. That took a lot of work to be this spiteful.
Yeah, but obviously they can reinvent a character. Is there a villain in the DCU, like preferably like a female villain, that you reckon could get her own solo series and be good, like Harley Quinn is?
Who? They've kind of done a number on Lady Shiva, unfortunately, in the new 52.
Yeah.
I hate her new costume. I think it's absolutely
What
shit.
you mean, like the one they did in Beware the Batman?
Pardon, no, the Beware the Batman where she looks like Queen Amidala, that one's fine. Have you seen the new 52 version of her costume?
Unfortunately, no, but I feel that it's going to be bad.
She's what is it? She's wearing an aqua blue ninja thing with spikes.
The
And it
hell?
yeah, and it covers her face entirely. So I'm like, what?
Mm.
Yeah, not my favorite costume. Talia al Ghul is unfortunately dead at the moment.
Oh yeah,
Although,
she's apparently dead.
which she's as dead as comic book characters get, which is to say, not really dead at
She's
all.
as dead as Damien.
Dead as Damian A, but we're gonna have
Ooh.
a whole arc where Batman's trying to find his body after this Batman and Two-Face thing is done. So who knows what'll come of that? Shit, I think she could easily carry her own book. Amanda Waller is getting a one-shot soon.
She is.
Yeah, she's getting a one-shot. Well, because Lois Lane got a
Yeah,
one-shot.
fantastic issue by the way, folks.
It is.
By Marguerite Bennett again. But go and buy that because it is brilliant. Even if you've not read the Superman books, go and buy it anyway.
You don't have to read the Superman books to read it, and that's the best part of it. It's a very girl power issue. I certainly dug it. Yeah, that was a good one. They're really pushing Joker's daughter for some reason.
I will say this. I actually really liked the. I mean, I didn't really like the original one shot they did with her in the Villains Month. I kind of found
Yeah, with
that,
the Ann Nesenti one, that one wasn't great.
but the one they did recently with obviously with Bennett penning it, that was fantastic. I mean, very even horrifying in some places.
Oh, it was a straight up horror thing, and you know what? If they wanted to run with that, if they wanted to turn that into a weekly series, or a monthly series, give that to Bennett, and maybe oh, excuse me, have the adventures of Joker's daughter in the Gotham Underground. I could see that being good. I don't think fans would latch onto it. As a matter of fact, I think fans would openly hate it just because it has the Joker's name attached to it, because for some reason comic book readers have this weird cult-like devotation to the Joker as a character, and if it's not just so, they will get quite angry. I remember, again, you mentioned Villains Month. Andy Kubert did a Villains Month issue for the Joker, and it was the origin of Jackanape, a character that he had created a while back. And it was a funnier issue. It was a funnier issue. It was like a Flight of Fancy issue with the Joker pulling off crimes with this monkey in a suit. and people are like, this isn't dark and disturbing enough to be a Joker story. I'm like, guys, he's training a gorilla to commit crimes with him. And they're, what? Okay, whatever.
Exactly. They kind of screwed her over in Birds of Prey, but Poison Ivy could be a good pick if you wanted to go that route.
They've been moving Poison Ivy into a more heroic direction, too, since the new 52 has started. As you mentioned, she was on the Birds of Prey, and even though I wasn't reading it, I think in Detective Comics or something, Poison Ivy helps Batman undo the whole Gothopia thing. So, yeah, a Poison Ivy solo book, like maybe like eco-terrorist for good type thing, like she's fighting the evil oil companies or something.
Yeah. Well, kind of the closing point on here. What is the one issue that's? I mean, obviously, Secret Avengers. You said that you're looking forward to. What is the one kind of book that you think will? Obviously, I'm going to say you can't pick Amazing Spider-Man that's coming back.
Damn.
But what's the?
No, I actually think I have a good answer.
But
for
what's
this.
the one issue do you reckon that's going to get loads more readers interested in comic books again?
Okay, I don't think it'll get loads more people interested in it, but it's definitely the one I'm looking forward to, and I think it's going to sell a fair amount of issues just because what's on the cover. All new Ghost Rider, actually, believe it or not.
Really?
The guy. I know, right? I get a lot of crap for this one too. I don't know why. But maybe it's because Fast and the Furious is so big right now, and that's essentially what they're trying to capture with all new Ghost Rider.
What is
Where
a
it's like-
racing book?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's a racing book. It's not Johnny Blaze anymore.
Oh, thank
it's
God.
a new it's a new Hispanic youth who he's an illegal street racer, and the spirit of vengeance finds its way to him, and instead of having like a badass chopper, he has like a badass muscle car that gets all held out, and I'm like, this is so ridiculous, I kind of love it.
I honestly, just hearing the premise, it actually gets me quite interested in it.
It's Felipe Smith doing the artwork, and I'm like, this book will either be amazing or it'll be terrible. And again, too, comic book fans being the way they are, a lot of them not liking change. Some of them have already gone into the, well, if it's not Johnny Blaze, I'm not going to read it then. I'm like, but it looks fun. It looks
Yeah, I
interesting.
mean, I know what Matt kind of. I mean, now it's kind of getting a bit better, but Thunderbolts. I know Matt wasn't a huge fan of the Thunderbolts series.
You can tell we love Matt a lot because we give him all the good books. Here, Matt, you have Thunderbolts and X-Force and all these movie tie.
Yay!
You can tell he was the last one to start picking up books to review because it's like, here you go, Matt, you can have the
You can have the
leftovers.
scraps. I mean, Sean gets enough of the Wolverine books that I'm sure that drives him nuts.
Oh, dude, he almost cracked this week when we're like, here you go, Sean, here's Wolverine and the X-Men. He's like, but I thought that book was done. Nope, nope, they relaunched it with a new #1. He's
Yeah.
like, no. We're like, good for you, Sean.
But and one kind of final point. What's the one book at the moment you want people to jump on? Like, it doesn't have to be Marvel or DC. What's the one book you want people to jump on right now? Like, if you
Oh, just one book. Okay. Talon is excellent, but Talon is getting canceled very soon, which is unfortunate because they brought Tim Seeley onto it, and Tim Seeley wrote one of my favorite indie books, Hack Slash.
oh yeah.
I really dig All Star Western. I think it's a great little gateway drug, especially if you're not into a lot of the superheroes or a lot of the continuity. It's just like, a straight up really good Western book that happens to take place in the DC universe. Yet another book, if people don't start reading it, it's not going to last.
Unfortunately.
There was a big scare last week. I forget if it was Newsarama or Bleeding Cool that reported it. But basically they said, oh yeah, this book is canceled now, to which the writer and the editor and everyone else had to come out and say, no, it's not canceled. We're working on issue 31 right now.
Don't believe internet rumors.
Yeah, please. Which is funny because, again, the site that reported it is usually right on the money about these kind of things. So they had kind of dropped the ball on that one. Yeah, All-Star Western is really good. I could read that book forever. I'm a huge Jonah Hex fan, even back before the New 52. Actually, I think Jonah Hex is one of the few characters who made a good transition to the New 52.
Yeah, there have been quite a few who've actually had a successful transition, unfortunately.
Yeah. Believe it or not, Loki Agent of Asgard is actually pretty good. I mean, obviously it only exists because Loki was such a big, fan draw for the Avengers movies, but it's only 2 issues in right now. It's light, it's breezy, it's kind of funny. It's actually closer in tone to something like Hawkeye.
I never actually
And
got to read Hawkeye, but I always hear good things about it.
I'm reading Hawkeye in trade. I read the first trades. It's pretty damn good. It's not even like a super. Well, it is a superhero book, and it isn't. It's just basically what Clint Barton is like living his day-to-day life. There's an amazing bit in the book where I absolutely fell in love with it. He's trying to set up his home entertainment system, but because he's barely home, because he's always off doing superhero stuff, all the cords are, tangled and shitty, and he's bad with technology, so he can't work it. So who does he call over to help him? Tony Stark. And Tony Stark is like, man, this stuff is old and out of date. I'm a gazillionaire, right? I can take you to the store right now and buy you new stuff. And Clint Barton's like, no, it's old and crappy, but it's mine, and I gotta make it work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's amazing.
I can get behind that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a really light and breezy read. Obviously, Mark Waid's Daredevil. I mean, that didn't need anyone getting behind it. It was, one of the biggest smash hit books, Eisner Award winning. I just caught up on it because it had ended, and now it's coming back with an all-new Daredevil. He's moving to San Francisco.
Oh.
So that's starting soon. That's really good. Gail Simone's Batgirl, of course. Basically anything Gail Simone writes.
I mean, Red Sonja is a fantastic little series. I mean, you'll have to catch up on it. But
I'm waiting to pick it up in trades, but yeah. Sonya's good. The Movement, I had read the first couple issues. The Movement's getting canceled, which, hey, nice try, DC, trying to make socially, inspired comics with Green Team and The Movement. Now they're both canceled. Aquaman's a lot of fun, too. Again, Jeff Parker picking up Jeff Johns' lead and doing a really amazing job with it. Believe it or not, now is the time to become an Aquaman fan because that book is great and it's allowed to get away with so much more.
I just think 10 years ago, everyone was taking the piss out of Aquaman.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, now it went from everyone taking the piss out of Aquaman because of Robot Chicken and the Super Friends and Family Guy.
Yeah.
Now it's gotten to the point where whenever we hear news about like the next Justice League movie or Batman versus Superman, people legitimately are considering, actors to play Aquaman. So
I mean, I remember that massive. If you've given me some comics, but I'm going to give you a few that you need to kind of catch. Like you want to start. So starting in March, you want to start reading the new #1, but the new #1 Captain Marvel, and basically she's going to go into space. Like she's going to, obviously that's where she's going to meet the Guardians. But she's going back into space, and she's been really. I mean, it's written by DeConnick again, and she's been killing it on that book already. It'd be damn well worth getting onto the series because it's a really good book.
I can't wait, and it's going to happen. We're going to have a crossover between Captain Marvel and the new Miss Marvel.
When that happens, I will shout from the heavens. I mean, and again, another series for everyone other than Joel, but everyone else. Pick up Miss Marvel, even if you can't get it, buy it in trade, like when it comes out, because this
Comixology.
This is one of the, this is, like I say, in a way, inspirational series is out there because it shows that religion doesn't stop you, or like social standing doesn't stop you from being a hero. Like,
it's one of the few comics I can say that this is an important comic.
And another issue, Secret Avengers, when that starts, obviously you'll be interested in that, but.
I think I pulled that one to review, actually. I'm like, ooh, I need a new Marvel team. I call Secret Avengers.
I must say, Joel, it has been a fantastic time talking to you on the show today.
I've also had fun. Thank you for having me. Believe it or not, I do interviews, but I don't get asked for interviews very often, so it's always a treat.
That's perfectly fine. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and I'd love to have you back again sometime.
I would like to come back too. Thank you very much.
Well, to all of you out there today, I would like to say thank you. Like, listen to Joel, like when he says to pick up these issues because they need to be picked up. So,
again, if you want to find my stuff, you can of course find new episodes of the Comic Book Cast podcast on the Comic Book Cast 2 channel. We do riffs and other fun videos at thecomicbookcast.com. You can come watch bad cartoons with us. My own channel is the DVD Grouch on YouTube, where I do Late to the Party and a lot of other fun videos. Actually, I have a new episode of Late to the Party I'm in the process of editing. So if you come there in the next little while, depending on when this comes up, you might have a new episode to watch.
Well, everyone, again, go and subscribe to the Comic Book Cast. They are a fantastic channel, and recently just passed 50,000 subscribers.
Yes, we did.
Go and subscribe to them because they're a lovely bunch of guys. They're very funny, and obviously Joel's had the decency to actually let me interview him today, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's perfectly all right. So all to those listening, and all to those obviously listening to their iPod, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, see you then, folks.